Welcome back to the Deep Dive, the show where we cut through the noise and really zero in on the crucial insights you need fast. Today we're diving into something that's, well, fundamentally reshaping how we interact with brands, with products, online. I mean, just think about how much online shopping has changed, even in the last few years. From static images to, dynamic videos. But imagine this. You can virtually try on that jacket you've been eyeing. Or, literally see if that sofa actually fits in your living room, all before you even click buy. This isn't sci-fi anymore. A courier. This is augmented reality, AR. And it's really being championed by a generation that gets digital like no other, Gen Z. So our deep dive today is all about understanding this fascinating intersection. We're pulling key insights directly from some comprehensive research, stuff that really unpacks how Gen Z is using AR in e-commerce. Our mission, pretty simple, really, to give you the most important nuggets, the key takeaways, so you can grasp this crucial shift, in consumer behavior and technology, help you make sense of the digital landscape.
Exactly. And it's so much more than just like cool new tech, right? I mean, AR is definitely innovative, no doubt. But this deep dive is really about understanding a massive demographic shift that's happening. Gen Z, I mean, they have immense influence. They're digitally fluent. And they're driving these profound changes in how we all shop online. So yeah, we'll look at the exciting benefits AR offers, but also, crucially, those often overlooked challenges, the things that could actually, make or break its widespread adoption.
That's a really good way to frame it. So, let's unpack this a bit for anyone who might still be wondering.
Yeah.
What exactly is augmented reality? And maybe more importantly, why is it becoming such a big deal for online shopping now?
Right. Okay, simply put, augmented reality, or AR, it's a novel consumer technology. Basically, it overlays digital content directly onto your view of the real world. Think of it like blending the digital with the physical, right there in front of your eyes. And for e-commerce, this translates into incredibly practical, almost magical features sometimes. We're talking virtual try-on tools for clothes, for makeup, where you can literally see how an item looks on you, right? Without ever leaving your couch. Or those 3D product visualizations, where you can spin an item around on your screen, look at it from every angle, just like you would if you were holding it in a physical store. And maybe my personal favorite are the spatial placement functions. This lets you see products like, say, a new dining table or a rug right there in your own living room to scale before you commit. No more guessing if it'll actually fit.
Wow, okay. That's amazing. The practical side is just immediately obvious. Especially, for anyone who spent ages with a tape measure trying to picture furniture. It really seems like AR addresses some core frustrations people have with shopping online. So why do you think it's becoming such a cornerstone now? Because, for so long, online shopping has had this disconnect, right? You can't touch it. You can't really see it properly.
Exactly. And that's why AR is such a game changer. It offers these truly immersive experiences. It fundamentally transforms how we interact with digital stores. It's tackling some of the biggest, pain points in e-commerce head on. First off, it helps minimize what we call decision ambiguity, that nagging feeling of not quite knowing what you're buying, or if it'll look the same in real life. And by giving you a clearer picture, AR significantly lightens the cognitive load of online shopping, that mental effort, right? Trying to imagine if that sofa will really fit or match, it just makes the whole process feel a bit more effortless, less mentally taxing. And this leads to more informed choices, which in turn means less post-purchase regret, that, ooh, why did I buy this feeling? And crucially, from a business angle, it helps tackle those super high product return rates, which are, let's be honest, a major headache for e-commerce companies. Saves them huge costs, logistical nightmares. It's really a win-win.
Okay, so it sounds like AR offers clear wins for retailers, tackling those pain points. But what about the consumer side? Specifically for Gen Z, who are, already so comfortable with tech. What's the personal draw for them? What are they getting out of it that makes them actually want to use it?
Yeah, good question. For Gen Z, we can really break down the benefits into two main buckets, basically, what's fun and what's useful. Let's start with the fun side, what researchers call the hedonic benefits. These are all about enjoyment, entertainment. AR makes shopping captivating. It can be personalized. It's deeply immersive. It's not just about the transaction. It's about the experience. This really boosts engagement. And it provides a kind of psychological comfort, actually. It makes the whole journey just more enjoyable. It's the fun factor, really, turning what could be a chore into something entertaining. Then, on the other side, you have the functional benefits, or the utilitarian ones. These are about usefulness, practicality. AR significantly advances how you evaluate a product. It works by narrowing that dissonance window, the gap between what you expect and what you actually get. That moment when the package arrives and you think, wait, this isn't quite what I thought. AR helps make sure what you see online is much closer to what ends up in your hands, reduces uncertainty. This leads to much more informed choices and ultimately increases the functional value. It's the practical factor, making sure the product actually meets your needs. And what's really important here is that both types of benefits, the fun and the practical, they profoundly enhance perceived satisfaction for Gen Z. And this satisfaction, well, that's a direct path to higher intentions to actually adopt AR features. They like it, they find it useful, so they're much more likely to use it again.
Okay, that all sounds fantastic. Almost, too good to be true sometimes. But surely it's not all virtual rainbows and perfectly fitting sofas, right? What are the catches? The psychological barriers, maybe? Things that might stop Gen Z from fully embracing AR, even with all these benefits.
You're absolutely right to ask about the flip side. Yeah. Despite all the pros, there are definitely limitations. Psychological barriers that can really dampen Gen Z's satisfaction and make them hesitant to adopt AR features. The main concerns we see are sometimes called techno-strain or technological anxiety, and also pretty significant privacy concerns. So technological anxiety, that's basically the stress or unease people feel when using new, maybe complex technologies. For some people, even tech-savvy Gen Z can feel a bit overwhelming, or they might worry about compatibility issues, glitches, things like that. Privacy concerns are maybe even more powerful. This involves worries about data collection, like how is my environment being scanned when I use that place in room feature, or how is my personal information being used? And the research highlights that these negative things, these worries, can actually outweigh the perceived benefits of AR sometimes, significantly. They can really disrupt those positive pathways we just talked about, from AR's value to satisfaction and then to adoption. It really comes down to this crucial balance, doesn't it? Between the gratification you get from the tech and the potential digital vulnerabilities it might open up.
Interesting. So it really sounds like satisfaction is a major player, like the key link in the chain. How exactly does Gen Z's satisfaction, or lack of it, with AR impact their decision to adopt it and keep using it? Is that connection really direct?
Oh, absolutely. The link is very strong, very direct. Research clearly shows this connection between perceived satisfaction and the intention to successfully adopt AR among Gen Z. Think of it as a crucial step, a bridge almost in the user journey. Both those benefit types we discussed, the hedonic, the fun stuff, and the utilitarian, the practical stuff, they both significantly boost this perceived satisfaction. And that satisfaction then acts as this critical mediator. It's the bridge, like I said. It doesn't just make them like AR. It directly influences their intention to adopt it and, importantly, to continuously use AR integrated shopping. So if they have a good, satisfying experience with that virtual try-on, they're way more likely to seek out AR features next time. But conversely, those psychological barriers, privacy worries, tech anxiety, they directly knock down satisfaction, which in turn directly hinders adoption. It's like a chain reaction, yeah. And satisfaction is right there in the middle, the linchpin.
Okay, this is where it gets really fascinating for me. Are there any differences in how, say, Gen Z males and females perceive and adopt AR? Because, in so many areas we see these differences, sometimes subtle, sometimes not, in how genders interact with tech or even just consumption patterns.
That's a really perceptive question. And yes, the research absolutely confirms there are significant gender differences here, within Gen Z even. And this is a super crucial nuance for anyone trying to build effective AR strategies. So what we found is that Gen Z males tend to be more hedonically driven, meaning the enjoyment, the entertainment value, the immersive aspects of AR. Those things more strongly influence their decision to adopt these features. You can almost picture it, right? The guys might be more drawn in by the sheer coolness factor, the novelty, maybe feeling a bit like a game. Females in Gen Z, though, they tend to be more utility-driven. Their adoption is more significantly influenced by the functional value, the usefulness, the practical benefits AR offers. So for them, it's often more about, okay, does this AR feature actually help me avoid a return, or is this making my shopping easier, more efficient? It's kind of the difference between the wow, cool factor and the problem solve factor, and that distinction is huge for marketers. Understanding these different motivations is absolutely essential if you want to develop, gender-based, tailored AR strategies. You really can't use a one-size-fits-all approach here.
That is a powerful distinction. Definitely something for marketers to chew on. So stepping back a bit, why is Gen Z specifically such an important group to study for AR adoption in e-commerce? Why the focus on them compared to, say, millennials or even the Gen Alpha kids coming up?
Right. Gen Z is critical for several really compelling reasons. They're kind of the perfect storm for this type of research focus.
Huh.
First, just their sheer experience with new tech. They've had it from a very young age. They're digital natives in the truest sense, right? Grew up with smartphones, immersive games, social media. So technologies like AR feel like a much more natural fit for their user experience. It's less of a leap for them. It's more like an organic extension of their digital lives. And beyond just being tech savvy, their size is just staggering. Gen Z represents over a third of the world's total population.
Wow. A third?
Yeah, it's enormous. And their economic power, equally impressive. They account for something like over 60% of online consumption in the global online shopping market.
60%.
60%. So you combine that digital fluency, the massive population size, and their significant spending power. It makes them a major driver of new tech adoption. They aren't just early adopters anymore, they're the core demographics shaping these markets. That makes them absolutely essential for studies like this, and obviously for retailers developing targeted strategies.
Okay, connecting this to the bigger picture now, how does this kind of research contribute to our general understanding of technology adoption, especially for immersive tech like AR? Is it just confirming stuff we suspected, or is it adding something genuinely new to the academic conversation?
Oh, it definitely adds something new. This research makes a pretty significant contribution, actually, mainly by offering what we call a dual value and barrier-based perspective. See, a lot of previous research tended to look at things in isolation, either focusing only on the value propositions, the things that make people want the tech, or just looking at the barriers, the inhibitors that stop them. This study, though, tries to look at their combined effects, holistically. How do the good things and the bad things interact to influence adoption of immersive tech? So what's new is that it really extends the framework for understanding immersive tech adoption. Using these dual value constructs, we talked about the hedonic, fun, and the utilitarian, practical. It also gives us a more comprehensive way to actually measure and evaluate the user experience with AR. And kind of on a theoretical level, it expands how we understand the whole process, from the stimulus, like seeing an AR feature, to the user's internal reaction, their perceptions, and then their response, like deciding to adopt it. And critically, it includes those often overlooked psychological drawbacks, like the privacy stuff. It's about painting a more complete, more nuanced picture.
That makes sense, getting the full picture. So let's bring it back to the ground level. What actionable insights does all this research offer for, say, retailers and marketers, people who are actually looking to integrate AR into their e-commerce platforms? How can they use this information to, well, get it right?
Yeah, absolutely. For retailers and marketers, the implications are very clear, very actionable. First, they really should focus on highlighting both kinds of benefits, the fun, hedonic ones and the practical, utilitarian ones. Don't just show off how cool and immersive the AR is, also clearly explain how it helps customers make a better, more informed purchase, how it solves a problem, reduces hassle. Second, and this loops back to what we discussed earlier given those gender differences, marketing efforts absolutely need to be tailored. So for male Gen Z consumers, maybe emphasize the entertainment, the immersion, the excitement factor, make it feel like an adventure almost. But for female Gen Z consumers, probably better to stress the practical utility, the improved product evaluation, how AR can help cut down on those frustrating returns. It's about saving time, reducing uncertainty, making smarter choices, and maybe most importantly across the board, addressing and actively mitigating those psychological barriers, privacy concerns. Tech anxiety is absolutely essential. You can't ignore them. This means things like having really transparent data policies, making sure the user interfaces are clear, intuitive, not overwhelming, and maybe even providing some educational content, helping consumers understand exactly how the tech works and, crucially, how their privacy is being protected, building that trust, ensuring ease of use. That's just as vital as showcasing the cool benefits. Because if people don't trust it, or if they find it too difficult to use, they simply won't bother, no matter how great the features are supposed to be.
This has been a really fascinating deep dive.
Yeah.
It's so clear that augmented reality is, well, it's profoundly changing e-commerce. And Gen Z is absolutely at the forefront, leading that charge. But it's not just about, throwing new tech out there. It's really about understanding this complex interplay, what truly benefits users, what puts them off, and then tailoring those experiences to genuinely connect with this incredibly powerful generation.
Absolutely. You've summed it up perfectly. The future of online shopping. It isn't just about what you can buy anymore. It's increasingly about how you experience buying it. And this ongoing dance, this interplay between cutting edge technology and, well, human psychology, especially for a generation like Gen Z that's so comfortable with tech, that's what will continue to shape how we all interact with digital worlds and ultimately with real world products. It's a dynamic space, that's for sure, always evolving.
So as AR continues to evolve, maybe something for you to think about is how much of your future shopping experience will actually be augmented? What do you think the next frontier will be when the virtual truly blends almost seamlessly with the real? And what new questions will that raise for all of us? Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring.